Okay, we're getting better at this. It's only 3 minutes after the top of the hour. Once again, welcome back to another wrestling podcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. I hope if you have not yet checked it out and you have seen the film already, we had a special edition of AJ's movie reviews over the week, which me, AJ, and Ashley talked about fighting with my family. So that was entertaining. And we missed wrestling content last week because of scheduling concerns. Now we're back tonight to talk a little bit of everything. So, welcome to the Monday Wrestling Podcast. My name is Owen. I am your moderator for this evening. Joining me, as always, we have our very hungry host, and that is Ashley. I mean, I feel your pain, Ashley, because honestly, like I got home, I worked 8 to 5 today, which was my dad, so long. And then after I was done, I ran, and then Scott was moving the last of his stuff out of the apartment. And sure enough, after that, I finally get to have some food, took a nice relaxing bath. Now I'm drinking some really good water, and we're talking a little professional wrestling.
No, I'm only eating food because I'm doing what Raw did tonight and did 5 minutes of filler.
I know a little bit about filler. I watched that episode before while you guys were watching Raw.
There was the irony, because it literally happened tonight.
I'm going to say something right now. I don't really know much about what's going on with the show. I'll say my 2 cents real quick. From what I'm seeing, I don't care about the Shield. I haven't for a long time. They're like the new Generation X. I don't care when they get back together.
Yeah, but at least it's not Tori Wilson.
Oh boy, that would have affected me about a year ago, and not anymore. So that comes next. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got WWE, we got NXT, we have NXT UK, we have a bunch of tapings that went down. We have Impact, which apparently got its best numbers on Twitch to date, courtesy of Tommy Dreamer and his Twitter.
Which doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Especially when I'd like to watch it, but because of the legal restrictions, I can't.
Whereas entering into the New Japan Cup, we've got All Elite Wrestling news that pertains to me directly as well, which I'm excited about.
God. He's marking out.
Yeah, I'm going to be, I probably will be making a trip to Jacksonville in the very near future. Almost completely confirmed right now. So, yeah, lots of things to be talking about tonight. We have the Indies, we've got mixed martial arts, a little bit of everything. This hodgepodge we call the Monday Wrestling Popcast. Welcome to all live and an archive in our chat room. Ash, let's do this.
So, just because I want to get through to like the important points. Reigns comes out and basically wants to take the yard back and brings out Seth, and they want the Shield to reunite.
Obviously.
And eventually Dean comes out after they have their stuff, and before he can even make it down the ramp, Elias smacks him in the back with a guitar. And then Drew McIntyre's saying that I broke the Shield months ago, and what were out there was 3 pathetic individuals. So it's time for the Almighty, I guess they're calling themselves, which is blatantly just Bobby Lashley's name, of Drew, Corbin, and Lashley beating Balor, Angle, and Strowman.
What are you talking about? One bald guy and two guys trying to make an impact?
Well, Kurt didn't even get an entrance.
Of course.
And when Strowman ran over Corbin, he went, bloody Michael Cole said, Braun Strowman says, hashtag get off the tracks, the monster trade is coming through.
Oh my God. That's horrible. That's so bad it's good.
The heels won.
Of course they did.
Mainly after Strowman managed to murder Leo Rush through the barricade at ringside by accident. Yeah, they basically drove Angle into the ring steps afterwards and then gave Balor a chokeslam onto the steps, as well as a Claymore kick from Drew. Shield didn't save him. So then Charlie interviewed Heavy Machinery.
Oh, God.
Because not everybody was happy to see them there. And then randomly backstage, we see Ascension, Hawkins and Ryder and B-Team complaining about all these NXT guys getting all the chances. And they were saying, oh, you know, he might be doing a load of weights, but that's because he's a dumbbell.
God.
And then we go to Otis. You know, and I'm thinking he's gonna do his whole weird shit. And he just goes, I'm sensitive. That hurt my feelings. No voice or anything. So it's like, wait, what?
Where they finally realized that this shtick was not working, so they're deciding to get away from it.
No, because that's what they did in the match.
Of course.
Natalya beat Ruby Riott because we needed that to happen. That match lasted 2 minutes, by the way.
Why?
You can tell Bruce Pritchard's in charge. Fuck women's wrestling. Ding! Wait, Bruce Pritchard is now head consultant or whatever backstage now with less women's wrestling in a year when women's wrestling is main eventing your biggest pay-per-view at the...
No. Everything else is cannon fodder. The only thing that matters is Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda.
No.
Everything else doesn't matter.
Because guess what happens when Natalya is ready to leave after her win?
Oh, great. I guess Miss Congeniality showed up again. I don't mean Lita.
I can't remember what... I don't want to call him Twatface because clearly the line was fed to Mike Rome. But he called like the Southern Stunner or something.
Southern Belle.
The South Southern Belle or the Stunning Summer. I don't know.
Why? Okay, tell me what is this fascination with this girl? She doesn't have anything.
If anything, she has as I've said before, if you look at her real life and how basically she was a bloody trailer park baby, give or take. If you look at her like backstory of like what she said in other interviews and whatever,
right?
It's perfect for a face run.
Yeah,
but no,
but the character doesn't fit as a face at all.
I think it was like Sweet Southern Belle or something. It was just
She's like a reject from The Help.
Why wasn't she Viggo Mortensen in Green Book?
Yeah, the only thing I think about it when I see her come out to ringside is I want some iced tea or lemonade, and that's not what I should be thinking right now.
Honky!
This needs to be... Okay, this is somebody they want to build the company around, and I don't get why. I've never got the big deal in Lacey Evans, and I don't think I ever will.
Don't worry, it gets worse.
I'm sure it does. This is the reason no one doesn't watch Raw.
Stephanie McMahon greets Michael Che and Colin Yost.
All the SNL guys.
The Weekend Update hosts are official special correspondents for WrestleMania.
This reminds me of like the WrestleMania 11 where they had the two supermarks that were walking around trying to get interviews and they kept getting the doors slammed in their face and stuck in comedic situations. I could see something like this happening. I'm going to be so tired during WrestleMania after running the half marathon and then coming here to do a live 8-hour podcast. I'm not going to care.
It's just annoying. It's that right amount of like just gonna piss you off to the right extent. I was trying to avoid major catastrophes maybe happening.
I don't care about this product right now. It's not for me.
I know, I've actually made it worse. Fucking hell. Hang on, is there anybody in chat?
No.
I need to do some quick rearranging of furniture.
Oh, God. I mean, I can go into the rant here. Yeah, it's just like I don't care. I don't care about the main event. I don't care about the mid card. I don't care about. I mean, there's guys I like in the company. I love what they're doing with Kevin Owens, but it just feels like because of this organic rise with Kofi Kingston, it's going to be all for nothing. I think we're going to have a double main event at WrestleMania with, at this rate, I honestly think we're going to get 2 3-ways and 1 singles match for your main championships.
Right. Now that I've realised that box of wrestling DVDs was going to be too full, that it was going to push everything over and cause a leaning tower and Pisa collapse.
Welcome,
one where I've got to work out where that goes, and 2, yeah, basically Che and Yost just played up with the whole stuff. Joe said, "Oh, look, I'm happy it's in New York, being in Philly and whatever." So that happened. And then we had the weirdness, but in a good way. Because Triple H comes out and they do an Instagram Batista thing. He's got red glasses on as well. He's officially red Tista, I guess, this week, after being blue Tista last week. He wasn't at Raw, not because he had other obligations, but because he doesn't like Philly. And, he doesn't like Pittsburgh either. But he may or may not show up next week, and will play the game on his terms until the game is up and the game's over. And then Triple H said, I was wanting to honor Ric Flair last week, but not because he's the Nature Boy and all that, but because of how well I know Richard Flyer. And it's like, oh my God, he's shooting. This is a shoot promo, sort of.
Yeah, because that name never, ever comes out on television.
Yeah, and he keeps saying, is it Flyer?
Flair? Flair was how I always heard it pronounced, but it could be either way, honestly.
Flair? I don't know. But he kept pronouncing it like the shoot way, not the stage name way.
Right.
Talked about the roads that traveled together, being at Flair's wedding, being there when he buried his son. and went to tears, recalling how all his health troubles last year and dreading every phone call, thinking that phone call would say that Rick had passed. And then, and Batista did that. And oh, look, he comes back and he does all this. I'm a badass act. Oh, I don't like Philadelphia. Boo. Oh, I don't like Pittsburgh. Boo. Batista, grow some balls. Hell, I'll go to your film set. I'll go to your house. Or, you could come to my house. This isn't something we're selling. When you look into my eyes, you aren't seeing Triple H. You're seeing the man. If you got my attention, you got it. And it's interesting. It's divided opinion. I thought it was actually sort of like a very interesting. It broke the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th walls.
That sounds good.
But I've heard some people saying, "Oh wow, this is so corny." So I guess it depends how you look at it.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I do, but you got to get me.
I personally liked it.
Yeah.
But I've seen people on Twitter, and even the person writing it up on F4W, the notes that I use, said This really sucked. Which I don't fully agree with. I thought there was a lot of passion in there. Okay, it's staged passion and whatever to get to the thing, but considering how much lack of passion there is on quite a lot of the roster right now.
Yep. I see that being an issue.
It was something that was refreshing to see for a change. And then we have Stephanie in the back saying, Ronda disrespected the title last week. So I'm going to do what's best for business. All charges are dropped on Becky. Her suspension is lifted. And I'm inviting her to the ring for a hold harmless agreement that states the company cannot be held responsible for what happens to her at Fastlane when she and Charlotte go one-on-one for the vacant title. So then Heavy Machinery were in a gauntlet match against those other 3 teams. Guess what? They beat them.
Of course they did.
Then Che and Yost are backstage, and it's like, oh, I'm up to date on WWE. Colin saying, Bushwhackers, Coco Beware, Razor Ramon, and I cannot wait to see what The Rock's cooking. And then it's like, oh, we've seen everything. We're not shocked by anything. And there's EC3 trying to spray tan himself in front of a mirror.
Oh my God.
He literally holds the same position for the entire 90-second segment that this happens. Because then they move further down the corridor and Titus O'Neil's there. Who wants a picture with Che, doesn't want anything to do with Yost. So clearly that's racist. Oh, wait. I can get away with that line now because it's not Black History Month. And then No Way Jose and his conga line of, cult victims come through just randomly.
Yes, they're wearing Monsters University hats?
Probably.
That's the only thing missing if you start talking about cults. Hold on.
No. Surely it's Ross, Jack the Jobber, Pacitti, and Sam. And Jennifer and Matthew. That's the proper cult.
And they're not wearing Monsters University hats. They're not an actual cult. Here's the thing. Got a couple questions in chat, but they're a little bit ahead of what we're talking about. They're MMA questions, but I won't get to them if I don't go to them now.
Yeah, we'll wait till the MMA bit. Although we probably need to talk about it because there's been a few things happening over the past few weeks.
Oh, real quick, the question before we get to MMA, which I welcome Hyro to chat as well. It says, "Been a while. I hope Owen at least likes NXT guys on Raw and SmackDown. You have to do something with who you bring up first before you can bring more people up. EC3 was better suited in Impact. Or at least they did something with him.
Get a set with the feud that they would have done with Dean.
That's
gone by the wayside.
His stuff at NXT was better too.
So the Tori Wilson video package featured maybe 9 to 10 seconds of her wrestling.
Yeah,
and all the rest was her looking like she's in a bikini, and her doing hot stuff, and her being Project Runway. And I'm going, there's other women that actually know how to wrestle, but aren't in the Hall of Fame yet. And we're putting in Tori Wilson. I guess the only thing is she lost her dad because of it. In real life as well as WWE storyline. I guess that's the irony. Then we had Charlotte basically saying she's going to put Lynch on the shelf for good and she'll become champion. Also worth noting, at this point in the night, we have a SmackDown star and a SmackDown star facing each other for the Raw Women's Championship. Brilliant. Then Rollins says, join the Shield, and Ambrose says no. And Elias strums, but he's already singing by the time we get back. Basically saying, you know, I know I'm in Philly because the Stanley Cup's not here. Everyone's mum looks like Gritty. Everybody he saw was a fat load. He saw an Eagles fan eating horse manure on the side of the road. And that Bryce Harper told him that this is where careers go to die. The interesting thing to note about this, where's Elias from, Owen?
Oh, originally he's from West Virginia, but Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh. Next week's going to be fun.
Especially a lot of people that remember his original gimmick of Logan Chulo.
So Elias wins eventually with a drift away, and he just leaves. Roman and Seth come in and like tease a reunion, but Ambrose just jumps over the barrier and goes into the crowd up the steps. And then here come the Almighty, beating the shit out of Seth and Roman. And then Ambrose eventually, he's like, goes down, makes a save. Rollins super kick Drew. Reigns gave Lashley the Superman punch, and Corbin got clotheslined out the ring by Dean. So Seth and Roman do the fist thing. And Ambrose is like, what do I do? What do I do? And then eventually he puts the fist in. The crowd goes mad. And yes, those six are having a 6-man tag match on Sunday. So completely neglecting Strowman.
That's unique. It's almost like they should do an 8-man tag with Braun and Angle.
Well, who would... It'd be more Braun, wouldn't it? But
Yeah,
then of
Braun
course,
and
what happened
Angle.
with Finn?
Well, I guess Balor's
I guess
somewhere in
nothing.
this.
I guess nothing.
I popped out the chat, so it's gonna make it a little easier to do.
So then it gets really concerning because we've got Tamina versus Sasha Banks.
Oh dear God, why?
Tamina somehow wins. And I'm going, lol. By the way, this women's match, 3 minutes. Notice
They're
a
back to
trend
the
here.
Divas. Are we back to the Divas division?
It seems to be.
God,
Women's matches are not going that long. In fact, in all honesty, looking at this, the longest match of the night was the 6-man, which went about 15 minutes. Natalia and Ruby went 2. Heavy Machinery and that, the squash match probably went maybe 10 minutes at most.
Wow.
Elias and Dean went 8. This went 3. And the main event was only 7 minutes.
God. Oh, man. And the rest of it was a bunch of gaga.
That's offensive to Lady Gaga. She has talent. So then Che wanted to go to the bathroom. And then here comes Strowman. And, saying, you work out. You do some stuff. He's intimidated, clearly. And then Yost goes, just man to man, is this stuff even real? And I'm like, are we channeling Dr. Dave Schultz here or something?
Oh, boy.
Lo and behold, Strowman grabs him by the throat and hoists him up about a foot off the air. And when they come back from break, he's still up there. And a load of officials and Che were stopping Braun. And, I'll see you at WrestleMania. And it's like, dear fuck. Dear fuck.
I hope we can get more than just the two of us to do Mania, because it's going to be a rough 8 hours.
So it's time for the Revival defending the tag titles against Ricochet and Aleister Black.
Why?
Quickly. So Gable and Rude showed up right before commercial. And then soon after commercial, they suddenly attacked Dash Wilder. So the ref called for a DQ. Which, compared to other times when stuff's happened and it hasn't been a DQ, who the shit knows?
We're building a multi-man match at Fastlane.
And then they got into the face of Ricochet and Black. And Ricochet and Black ended up on top, doing the simultaneous flip off the ropes into the crosses and the Superman jump.
Mm-hmm.
So we now have 20 minutes. So Stephanie comes out with the belt, brings out Charlotte, brings out Becky, and says, we need a champ and we'll find out who it is on Sunday. And Stephanie goes, Becky, you got to sign this hold harmless agreement. And Charlotte says, go on, sign it. Or should Stephanie just hand me the title? And Becky went, well, I only had one good leg in the Rumble and I beat you, so we could do it right now. And Stephanie's like, no. Do it on Sunday. Then all of a sudden, Ronda apparently shows up. And it's what you're doing. And Stephanie's like, you left me no choice, and so I gave you a week to think about it, so that you'd include Lynch, not exclude me. I want my title back. And Stephanie just did. And it's like, well, okay. Well, Becky and Charlotte are still going to have a match at Fastlane, but if Becky loses, she's done. But if she wins, it's a triple threat at WrestleMania. And then Rousey got in Stephanie's face and goes, you clearly value your wallet more than your pride. I've made too much money for you for me to get fired now. And I know you value your bank account more than you value the well-being of Becky and Charlotte's frail little bodies. And Rousey then all of a sudden went, I've done everything right and I've tried to respect the business, but you booed me out of my home of the Staples Center in Los Angeles. And it's like, they did that in UFC. They cheered Becky over me while I worked my ass off. Everyone knows that I can break their noses just sneezing in their directions. Raw is mine. Stuff the man, screw the woo, and no more Mrs. Nice Bitch. She kicked the shit out of Charlotte and then attacked Becky. She attacked her and put on the armbar and eventually took it off after 4 seconds.
Finally.
And then put the foot on her face and posed with the belt.
They finally got it. They finally got the fact.
And then I'm going, guys, there's still 5 minutes left.
Oh, no.
So Charlotte keeps trying to get up into the ring and sort of get involved, but obviously realizing, hey, if my opponent's getting weakened by Ronda, why should I? So smart stuff. And then Ronda does some fake-ass punches on Becky to hurt her, and then puts on another armbar and gives up after 5 seconds and poses with the belt. And then she has to do more punches and another armbar that lasts about 5 seconds and pose with the belt. All this time, Charlotte is looking from the ramp, doing various different expressions, because this is how we end Raw, right? Oh, wait, we still have 2 minutes. We still have 2 minutes. And then we have to go to a replay to fill in time. And then we have to cut to the back with Charlie and Stephanie.
Why?
Because we had to fill time because they didn't fucking program it right. Clearly. So Stephanie's like, well, Ronda's shown her true colors. I've got no love for Becky, but I felt sick for her. Clearly she must have an injured arm as well as an injured knee. I can't wait to see what happens at Mania, whether it's a singles match or a triple threat. And I think we've got a lot to address, and it could impact Ronda's career, whether she thinks so or not. And then they even fade off because they're trying to fill time by doing these lines because they don't know what the fuck to do. So good ad-libbing by Charlie and to some extent Stephanie, I guess. And Rousey's posing on the turnbuckle, pointing at the sign. And you can openly hear one of the ring crew going to Rousey, hold up your title.
Wow.
That's how Raw ends, everybody. Raw ends with literally 5 minutes of filler because they didn't block it properly.
That's crazy.
And the way she turned as well, though, it was so like, when they do those shit heel turns in the video games that make no sense?
Yep.
That's what she did. They're just playing on the whole, oh, she's a bad person because she doesn't care about the fans, because look what she did in UFC. She lost and she disappeared. So I think they're trying to do that angle. Except the technical term is it's fucking shit.
All right, so we have some.
All of a sudden, I do not give a fuck about the WrestleMania main event, whichever one it is, because we probably know Seth's winning, and
I hope not.
it's just gonna taint Becky. And on top of all that, rumor is Asuka could be fucked up because she injured herself in a freak accident tonight at the house show in White Plains, Michigan.
Yeah, I heard that too. Well, exactly what happened?
Can I find the tweet that might have mentioned it? So Dan Heavier said on Twitter, the move was almost a reverse flapjack and Asuka tucked her head towards the end from out of nowhere. Basically, she got dumped right on the side of her head.
Oh, God.
And it wasn't like, oh, well, it's Mandy's fault or it's Asuka's fault. It was like one of these sort of freak accidents.
Yeah.
Although, apparently in the last 20 minutes or so, Asuka has tweeted, I'm sorry for worrying you. Hit my back, but that's fine. It is neither a concussion nor a neck. So it's just something that clearly officials were concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be okay, just about. Thank God.
We've got some chat. I'll get to the UFC stuff in a minute. Let's see. One Triple S says, is there any chance WWE would bringing in Alex Jones? They've had cringe people. God, I hope not. I don't think
he is kind of retarded.
Yeah, he's pretty useless.
Kind of retarded.
The whole thing about people, like the George Carlin bit about loading him into a cannon, shooting him straight into a brick wall. It's about right. One Triple S says, so he can mention that WWE has been connecting with aliens all along. Yes. Thank you for Darren and Howard for introducing me to this moron. Howard Penta and Phoenix still an Impact if they're with AEW. Loose contract.
Yeah, it's basically, and I think until we actually have like television deals, they're letting these talent do whatever shows that they want.
Yep.
Pretty much.
So around HHN time, that's going to be when you're going to see a little bit different things change too. Let's see. Where are you? I'm sorry, but Alicia has to go. She's caused too many problems, especially with the alcohol. I've never, ever been a fan of Alicia Fox.
Let's dig into this then. So
she's dangerous as hell in the ring.
It's come out today that apparently the reason Arn Anderson got fired is she turned up to one of the house shows last month.
Right.
And Arn Anderson just let her go out there in a drunk state. And when Vince found out, he was like, he wasn't fucking happy, let's just say.
Oh, yeah.
Worth noting, Alicia hasn't been seen on TV for nearly a month. She did tweet post on Instagram today about go fox yourself to the haters and hashtag digital detox. It's more like, no, you just need an actual detox, not digital, like alcoholic detox. Just a bit of advice. Makes you wonder though, when you look at all those promos when she looks like she's weird, is it just actually that she's fucking high? Or drunk? Or both? Or neither?
Who knows? Why? Hyro says, why is WWE keep switching brands? Is this the shakeup already? Owens was in SmackDown, went to Raw, now in SmackDown. Charlotte and Becky on Raw. Why are they still in SmackDown? Honestly, I don't think they care anymore.
Well, if there's no separate pay-per-views, and you've already got the complication with what are you doing with the women's tag belts?
God.
You know, they showed up at NXT tapings saying, you know, oh, well, don't worry. We're going to be defending it here as well. And I'm going, you're not, though, are you? 2 NXT women are going to get the call up in inverted commas and be part of WrestleMania. Although that's complicated by what happened at NXT. Massively. But before that, the quick summation, you know, it's like SmackDown is like really just blowing it out the water now overall. You know, the Kevin versus Daniel Bryan match, which I think that probably must have happened somewhere on the indies, surely.
I'm positive it did.
Certainly is a tag team or whatever, but I don't know whether one-on-one, but either way, that probably is the match I'm looking forward to most at Fastlane.
Oh, yeah.
Although at the same time, it looks as if all of a sudden, I mean, okay, Mustafa Ali made his return, but it looks as if Kofi Mania might actually be a thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As in, Kofi might be getting the title at Mania. Which would be big, in all honesty.
PWG, Ring of Honor, places the match has taken place.
Okay, so it has happened.
Yeah, many times actually. See, I want Kofi to get his due because he deserves it, but my God, this is an opportunity to finally give Kevin Owens the championship at the biggest event of the year. Because truth be told, the WrestleMania that I went to, he should have been that match should have been your main event program for the World Championship. It was the hottest angle on the card, and they relegated it to the beginning of the show.
Be interesting to see what the KO Mania 4 shirts though are like.
Yeah, it'll be another one I don't get because that's one of the only shirts I don't ever get a hold of his.
Probably because it's themed around the Donald. Maybe. I mean, if we're going on the history of WrestleMania 4 and 5.
Right.
So with NXT, I mean, we clearly knew what was happening because 20 minutes before the television aired, Velveteen Dream came out as the champion.
Yep.
So that was the official confirmation that they were sticking with the actual title change. I guess the big stuff to know, Dijakovic and Lee went to a double count out. It started off brilliantly. It was like Keith Lee was offering a handshake. Dijak shoved him. Keith Lee immediately picked him up going for a powerbomb. Dijak rolled it through to try and... I'm trying to work out what that move is. When you roll through and try and slam the other person on their back.
Spinebuster?
No, from like an elevated position. Like you sort of roll them over just from momentum.
Like a double leg takedown?
To some extent. Well, basically, he tried to flip him onto his back, and instead Keith Lee flipped onto his feet. As if he's Ricochet. So that happened. So then we're doing Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic stuff. Black and Ricochet beat Eichner and Bartel. Forgotten Sons beat Birch and Lorcan. Mustache Mountain beat the Street Profits. And the reunited DIY beat Undisputed Era. Yeah, that happened. Eric Bugenhagen lost again, but still did his celebration. So that's clearly a thing. This is ripped off of Ring of Honor. Adam Cole beat Punishment Martinez. Then the number one contenders match with Belair and Io Shirai went to a no contest because Shayna beat the shit out of both of them. Kyrie tried to make the save, but she got taken out as well, which is making me wonder Fatal 4-Way at TakeOver.
Makes the most sense to me.
And then the Forgotten Sons beat Mustache Mountain. And Black and Ricochet beat DIY. The finals will be at the final set of tapings, which are, I think, in a few weeks, aren't they?
Yep.
And the winners face the War Raiders at TakeOver. Let's be honest, it's blatantly going to be Forgotten Sons, isn't it?
I don't know why, but yeah, that's what it looks like.
Well, it has to be, because if it's Black and Ricochet, how does that make any sense?
No, it's going to be. I don't understand what's the hype with the Forgotten Sons?
I guess they're pushing them.
They are. I don't understand why.
Maybe this is a sign that Undisputed Era is moving up, but they're not going until they do the shake-up in Canada a few weeks after Mania.
They're going to destroy the NXT tag division yet again.
I'll quickly run through some other stuff that happened over the Indies. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before.
Wrestling related chat. So one Triple S asked if there's any chance WWE will bring the botch Bellas to bring SmackDown relevant since there are really no women.
No.
Remember, I'm surprised Becky or Charlotte didn't mention the 2 losses of Ronda. Maybe they're saving it.
That'd be too easy.
Foxy's stuck in the Divas era. Accurate. I really like Kofi in the world title picture. I do too, but I mean, this would have been a really great push for babyface Kevin Owens, but they've already screwed that up too.
So the big stuff from IPW was that Pac made his return and actually lost. It was a triple threat freeway with Mark Haskins retaining over Kip Sabian and Pac. Oh look, Kip Sabian from Fighting With My Family.
Yep.
Who knew? The New Japan Iizuka retirement show was weird because Tenzan and Chaos won, but then afterwards, Tenzan offered, friendship to Iizuka, sorry. Iizuka teased it and then just stayed heel, beat the shit out of him, and he left through the crowd.
It's random for a heel.
Which left Tenzan and Chaos having to do the whole retirement angle bit. Yeah. Iizuka, in his retirement, didn't even want to say anything to the fans, apparently. Unconventional. I don't know whether in a good way. But that happened.
Right.
Then the other shows, the Ring of Honor cross-promotional shows, the Honor Rising events in Tokyo. Nothing major went down. Taguchi, Makabe, and Yano retained the never openweight 6-man titles against Delirious Cheeseburger and Colt Cabana. Ospreay retained the never openweight title over Dalton Castle. Jeff Cobb beat Hiroki Goto to retain the Ring of Honor TV title. And on night 2, Jay Lethal retained the world title against TK O'Ryan. But the Gorillas of Fuck did beat LIJ to become new IWGP Tag Champs.
I'm not surprised.
And then the Briscoes beat Lifeblood of Juice Robinson and David Finlay, which, as it turns out, was Dave Finlay's last match for a while.
Yep.
Briscoes retained, and then the Gorillas came out. So, by the looks of it, we're having sort of a title unification, if you will.
That's what it looks like.
It's certainly title for title, I believe, as part of the Ring of Honor Super Show on WrestleMania Saturday. Which should be fun. Although the anniversary show is coming up, what is it this weekend?
God, is it?
Hang on, upcoming shows. No, it's next week.
Okay.
Next Friday. In Vegas, of all Vegas-y things. Although I am marking out about it because Mega Ran's doing the music for the show and doing the official song for the event. I love the fact he's listed as popular rapper Mega Ran. I think the idea is people have no clue who he is in Sinclair Broadcasting. The internet does. Another little bit regarding Ring of Honor and New Japan. It's going to be on Fight TV, the pay-per-view.
Interesting.
It's also going to stream live for Honor Club and New Japan World, included with subscriptions. However, also, if I can get the details of this, because I don't even know whether it's still available, there is the Fight Fest 2019 that's been launched. So this is, but it. Remember how they did the package of like all the StarCast stuff that I bought?
Oh yeah.
Back for All In weekend. They're doing it as well for WrestleMania weekend. So for $120, you get at least 20 events, which include the Ring of Honor New Japan Supercard, Impact Wrestling's United We Stand show, WWN Super Show Mercury Rising, the WrestleCon Super Show, House of Glory show, the GCW Collective show.
There we go.
Both of Joey Janela's spring breaks. Let me see if I can get the actual schedule up to get the actual list. The Independent Wrestling TV Family Reunion. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. I think the Interspecies Wrestling Boner Jam is also going to be on. AIW Slumber Party Massacre. I think the Shikara show's in part of it. Black Label Pro. The BYB Brawl. Maybe. Oh no, that's from Cheyenne, so that's not even. Blackcraft Wrestling. Nova Pro. IWS. Maybe even Kaiju. because I think that's happening.
Wow.
Basically, it's sort of fucking everything over that weekend. Which, when you take into account that the Ring of Honor show is $40, the GCW shows are all $15, of which there's, that's interesting. The Fight Fest does include. Oh no, it just says Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, WrestleCon. So it might not include the GCW stuff. That might be separate, especially considering it's $100. So I don't know, because it says, it features all this stuff as to what's going on. But the problem is, oh no, there we go. So WrestlePro, WXW, Destiny Wrestling, WrestleCon, DDT, Impact, Kaiju, WrestleCon, Shimmer, Rev Pro, the WWN Super Show, the Stardom Show, Joey Ryan's Penis Party, Pro Wrestling Revolver, the MoreThanMania.com Wrap-Up Party, House of Glory, Drags and Dropkicks, the Ring of Honor Supercard Show, and WrestlePro. All for $120. And then for another $100, because apparently people have a lot of money, that is the GCW Collective, which features the Independent Wrestling.tv show, all three of the GCW shows, the Josh Barnett one and the Spring Breaks, the Interspecies Wrestling stuff, the AEW stuff, the Shikara stuff, the Black Label Pro stuff, the Black Craft Wrestling stuff, the IWS show, and the Nova Pro event for $100. So that's 11 shows for $100. And the Fight Fest one is 1, 6, 19 shows as it stands.
Wow.
But apparently it's going to be over 20. But I guess they've just got to confirm what is in that 20. But by the looks of it. So yeah, crazy shit is going ever so slightly down. Next, I guess we can cover the NXT UK tapings.
Okay.
Some interesting stuff did go down on those as well. Night one had Noam Dar come out and says his new home was with NXT UK. And Andrews and Dar beat the shit out of each other. Devlin beat Travis Banks in the Falls Count Anywhere match. Then Cassius Ono beat Ashton Smith and attacked him afterwards. So I guess Ono's now in NXT UK. I'm
okay with that if they're going to do nothing with him on the main roster.
And Pete Dunne and Volta beat Gallus. And then after, Volta put his boot on the UK title and prevented Dunne from picking it up. And they had their dramatic stare down. Please tell me that's happening at WrestleMania.
Probably.
Please, Triple H, please. So in the opening match, maybe dark match, Ilya Dragunov won on night 2, beating Ashton Smith. Oh, and then there we go. The confirmation. Johnny Saint and Sid Scala announced that the UK title will be at NXT TakeOver New York with Pete Dunne versus Volta. So it's happening, everybody. The title reign's finishing. Volta's winning. Then Cassius Ono read an apology to Ashton Smith. That's random. So then Rhea Ripley beats Zia Brookside and says that she's the most dominant woman in NXT UK. And here comes Piper Niven, a.k.a. Viper.
So World of Sport worked well, didn't it?
By the way, Kaylee Ray's already with them because she did a show on Natch 1. So then we got to the match between Andrews and Dar, which clearly got fucked up because both left on stretchers. Both are somewhat hurt because Andrews wasn't able to take part in whatever he was supposed to be part of for Progress the night after. Dar allegedly is going to America to be assessed. So that whole line of I'm not going back to America, I'm staying here, clearly was a lie. Travis Banks beat Cassius Ohno. So then Piper Niven beat Killer Kelly, but then Rhea Ripley appeared, and Piper's like, go on, get in the ring, and Ripley wants nothing to do with it. And then the Grizzled Young Veterans looks like they're going to be facing Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. That's random. And then the main event saw Toni Storm beat Ginny to retain the women's title. That might have been good on Progress, but in WWE, who knows? Don't want to get anybody's hopes up. So I guess following on from that, the Progress stuff. Yeah, Chapter 84 is good beef. Has anybody got any buffalo and death? So the opening match, which is supposed to be Haskins and Andrews versus Do Not Resuscitate, basically became a 1-on-2 handicap instead, with Haskins on his own, which he was happy enough with. It went to DQ because Drew Parker interfered for Do Not Resuscitate and all that, except familiar music played and Jimmy Havoc made his return. So clearly that's a thing. Millie McKenzie beat Bea Priestley, I think, to gain a spot in the women's title four-way at Super Strong Style 16. Devlin beat Travis Banks by DQ. Wow, they did the match again. Oh no, the actual Nina Samuels beat Ginny in the Progress Women's Championship qualifiers. I guess the other one wasn't. Which gives you more sign that Ginny's not allowing to do much stuff in the company. So yeah, TK Cooper and Niwa assisted Travis Banks, and the South Pacific Power Trip is officially reunited, I guess. Swords of Essex beat Aussie Open to retain the tag belts. Trent Seven beat Timothy Thatcher in the Open Challenge to retain his Atlas title, and Volta beat Chris Ridgway to retain Progress the World title. However, afterwards, Trent Seven showed up and challenged Volta to a title unification match, which will be at Super Strong Style 16. Although they are teasing the Eddie Dennis stuff, because if you remember, he won back at Wembley the chance to have a title shot of his choosing in the next 12 months. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is more likely Trent's going to win. And it's going to be this whole, great moment. Eddie's going to come in, cash in his shot, and win the world title. And I guess the Atlas title just gets forgotten about. Maybe. Which would be a shame, but I think that's probably the storyline they're going with. ICW Square Go. Rudo Lightning did win it, like he threatened to in various other promos. There was a title change, however. Kings of Catch beat POD of Rampage Brown and Ashton Smith to become the new tag champs. Kaylee Ray retained her women's title against Toni Storm. Joe Coffey retained the Zero G title over Ilya Dragunov. And Lionheart retained the world title over Angelico. So it'd be interesting to see what goes down from that in the upcoming weeks and the months. So then we get to, I guess we can, AAW, which of course Owen's seen partially.
Right.
Because unsurprisingly, as I sort of predicted, the Bucks showed up, attacked Penta and Phoenix after they lost, I think, to the Rascals, from what I remember. Let me double check to see if I can get the page up from PW Ponderings as to the full card. Obviously, if you've seen Being the Elite, you've seen what went down. Basically, the big thing that I liked with the tease was we have your schedule. See you next time. Which is worth noting because, of course, their next big show is Rey de Reyes for AAA a week on Saturday, which just so happens to be having Cody and All Elite Wrestling being part of the show as part of this whole talent exchange deal that they've got going on. So I think it's inevitable that they're showing up in Mexico, I would say. Just double checking. Yeah, LAX beat the Lucha Brothers and Firefox to become the new tag champs. And then, of course, the Young Bucks stuff happened. Kylie Ray beat Sue Young to retain the women's title. But then Jessica Havoc came in and challenged Kylie to a title match. That might be coming up this weekend because I think AEW have got another show this weekend. Fatu beat Stephen Wolf in apparently an impressive debut. However, Connor Braxton got attacked by Fatu instead, and then Fatu attacked AAW security as well. So he got suspended for 30 days. So that went crazy. And interestingly, Mance Warner beat Jimmy Jacobs and then attacked Mance Warner afterwards with a railroad spike to bloody the man of the people. That just seems like a half-assed stage of the fall. Let's be honest. So that was the major stuff that went down on that one. We also had AIW's Hail to the King, baby. Which was pretty big because we actually did have title changes on it. And when there's title changes, you know shit's going down. But of course, the pages are taking too long to load, so I'm having to stall. Now I know how Rhonda felt tonight. Filler. Yeah, I certainly... The results weren't out immediately for this. I guess I wasn't following the right people on Twitter, maybe. But the interesting stuff is, I think we had at least one title change, maybe more. God, this is taking forever to load, PW Ponderings. What's going on with your site? Have we got any wrestling stuff in chat? Or is it still MMA based? Owen. Oh, great. I'm having to stall even further because... Oh, bloody hell. There we go. Yeah, PB Smooth beat Tracy Williams to become the new Absolute Champion. Matt Justice retained the Intense title over Trey Lamar and Wheeler Yuta. In the Pick Your Poison stuff, Dominic Guarini beat Kevin Thorne, Tom Lawler beat Joshua Bishop, so that clearly went fine. Let's see if there was anything else. Don't think so.
Okay.
At least note for AIW. Beyond Wrestling had their Treasure Hunt tournament, which was eventually won by Chris Statlander. She beat Dickinson in the final, Jordan Grace in the semi-final, and David Starr in the first round. pretty impressive. We also had Chris Dickinson beat Willow Nightingale, Jordan Grace beat Wheeler Yuta, Josh Briggs beat Solo Darling with Officer K9 Magnum. That's the important one. The dog. Dickinson beat Briggs in the semi-final as well. And Lisa Marie Veron beat Anthony Green. So I guess that happened. And also, SoCal Uncensored will be on the first episode of Uncharted Territory when Beyond Wrestling goes live April 3rd. Just a few days before the Mania of Wrestling, I believe. Is that not right, Owen?
Yeah.
So then we get to literally the big one. PWG 200.
Yeah, we got a lot of chat messages we'll get to in a little bit.
So we open with a three-way with Jake Atlas and Trey Miguel losing to Jungle Boy. Yeah. And this, full credit to Jungle Boy. He wrestled this match, and from what I heard, really well, despite the fact that his dad went into a coma 2 days before this. And obviously, as we heard today, passed away at only the age of 52 from said stroke that he got. Full credit to Jungle Boy for doing it at what's clearly been a rough time for him over the last few days. And I think, let's be honest, this is an obvious bit of booking for AEW to give Jungle Boy the win at Double or Nothing. Hopefully. A sort of I did see that there were some screenshots today of Luke being in the crowd at the, I can't remember the name of the show, but the one that PWG did back in January. The first one of the year. So that was nice. So, yeah. Respects out to Jungle Boy and the rest of his extended family and all that over the passing of Luke. And we also had Puma King beat Laredo Kid. The Best Friends beat Aussie Open. Brody King beat Darby Allin. Jonathan Gresham went over on David Starr. The Rascals retained the tag belts in a triple threat over LAX and the Lucha Brothers. And Jeff Cobb beat Bandido to remain PWG World Champion. I believe we have no news on whatever the next show is, do we?
I'm aware of.
Let me just double check. Yeah. It's available to pre-order now. The DVD and Blu-ray, that is. But no news on next shows. Which, to be honest, is probably fair.
We got, rapid fire.
Yeah, we can go through a bit of that.
Have we gone over MMA is what's left?
Yeah, we've still got that, but we've got a few other shows as well to cover. It's always annoying. The reason I wanted to do Southside stuff, because it was all inspired by Ali Alone instead of Home Alone. So we had A Quick Day of Reckoning and Lost in London.
Oh, that's
being
great.
part of the stuff. The interesting thing is, I don't think Ali was even on the first show. No, she isn't even listed as wrestling. We did get Charlie Morgan versus Zia Brookside, though, which Charlie won. So, and then Senza Volta retained the speaking title in a four-way over Maverick Mayhew, Ricky Knight Jr., and the OJMO. And then for Lost in London in the afternoon, in the evening, The freelance tag titles are on the line, and the Lethal Enforcers of Henry and Drake. Yes, that is them from Evolve, by the way. Beat Trial by Violence of Saxon Huxley and Gabriel Kidd. We also had Rob Lynch beat Dan Maloney in a street fight to retain the Southside World title. Ali beat the OJMO. So she did wrestle at least on one of the shows, which is nice. And Senza Volta, Chima, and Shana, the Queen of Southside Champion, beat Styx, Jack Smith, and Darius Lockhart in a weird combination 6-man or 6-person tag main event. And then I guess the other thing to note, which I'm trying to remember whether you would have had the chance to see, but I don't think you would have. GCW used to live and die in LA. Went down. Tony Deppen beating Jake Atlas, KTB beating Matt Vandergriff, Jimmy Lloyd over Eli Everfly, Jungle Boy over Rich Swann, G Raver beat Drew Parker in a death match. B-Boy won a scramble, which also featured Delilah Doom, Douglas James, The Human Tornado, Lucas Riley, and Tyler Bateman. Orange Cassidy got the win over Jerry Ryan. Schlack beat Marcus Gray in the second death match. And Nick Cage beat Alex Colon to retain the GCW heavyweight title. In the event of mains and all that. Just double checking to see is there anything. Oh, I guess with the MLW stuff, there was one interesting angle that I saw where some jobbers were getting beaten up, and the ring was literally like NWO Third Man Bash at the Beach. There was just a shit ton of rubbish and beer in the ring, like old school. I guess that makes sense considering. Holy shit, Owen! Jim Cornette is back in MLW.
Yeah, I saw he's doing commentary on television, but he's also helping behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. Some sort of consultant in some aspect. Apparently, that's the new thing. Bruce Pritchard is a consultant. Dana Warrior is a consultant. Is Dana Warrior wanting shorter women's matches? Is it her fault? LA Park beat Mance Warner in a death match in the main event because, that's for kids. The big stuff happened, though, at the start. Teddy Hart beat Myron Reed to retain the middleweight title. The Lucha Brothers beat Team AAA of Taurus, Laredo Kid. And Tom Lawler beat Low Key in a steel cage match to retain the world title. But then the stable, which had Fatu and Joseph Salam and somebody else by the name of Contra, beat the shit out of Tom Lawler, apparently. So I guess that happened. One thing I do want to mention, because AAA, because I've been watching some of the shows that they've been doing on Twitch, because apparently you can now co-stream the stuff on Twitch. So you can do your own commentary in case you don't like Vampiro or the Spanish commentary, even though it's actually pretty good. Remember how they were doing all that build back at Triple Mania for LA Park versus Dr. Wagner Jr. and the mask versus hair thing?
Yep.
From August, September time? It's now Blue Demon Jr. versus Dr. Wagner Jr. and a mask versus hair match instead. Plans change, everybody. I can't wait to see if they change again. Because they could. Dear flipping God. Oh, we had title changes on the other Southside show. I didn't even realize there was 3 shows this weekend. Holy shit. Oh, it was the Speed King. Of course it was. Oh, Shigehiro Irie beat Rob Lynch to become the Southside World Champion. So congrats to him. Shana beat Ali to retain the Queen and Southside title. And the Speed King title also changed hands with Ricky Knight Jr. Winning. Pinning the champ Senza Volta with the final fall to get the title. So congrats to Ricky on a pretty big weekend where I think it's official, although we don't have the numbers. Fighting with My Family was the #1 film in the UK.
Can confirm that.
It's happened. It has occurred. The big stuff to mention, I guess, and I'm trying to get all the various cards up for it. If I can find them all. We start this weekend with the anniversary show for New Japan, building into a shit ton of everything that's going down. So, the anniversary show is Wednesday, so in about a day or so. We've got, I guess, Chaos and Young Boys of Narita, Umino, Yoshida, Yano, and Makabe versus Hikuleo making his return. Chase Owens, the Gorillas of Fuck and Fale. Hanare and Nagata versus Yoshihashi and Ishii. Dragon Lee, Taguchi, Tiger Mask, and Kojima versus Suzuki-gun and Suzuki Taichi, Kanemaru, Desperado, and Taka Michinoku. Sho and Yo challenge Shingo and Bushi for the junior. Liger challenges Taiji Ishimori for the junior heavyweight belt. The anniversary special 6-man has Sanada, Evil, and Naito versus Goto, Okada, and Tanahashi. And then Ospreay versus Jay White in an exhibition match. Probably. So then we get to the New Japan Cup. It's 32 competitors, Owen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it starts Friday at Kurikan Hall. I can't remember what the brackets are. I don't know whether they've properly done them. But in the first round, we've got Nakanishi versus Yoshihashi, Honma taking on Taichi, Juice Robinson taking on Chase Owens, Nagata versus Ishii. Oh, that'll be fun. Mikey Nichols.
Saw that happen too while we were gone.
This is, what, is it Shane Thorne?
Yep.
Formerly of NXT. He's taking on Hikuleo. Okada versus Elgin. Ospreay versus Fale. And Lance Archer versus Toa Hanare. God, that's a first round match. Ugh. That's a Saturday show anyway in Aichi. Then Sunday in Hyogo, we've got Taguchi replacing the injured Dave Finlay versus Tenzan. Tanahashi versus Shota Umino. Well, that's a squash, surely. Evil versus Zack Sabre Jr. And Ibushi versus Naito. Oh, that's a tasty one as well. Blimey. And Evil and Sabre, actually, to some extent. And then Monday in Kagawa, the final 8 competitors. Yano versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. Suzuki versus Kojima. Sanada taking on Goto. And Cabana versus Makabe. Colt Cabana's going to be part of the New Japan Cup. I love it, Maggle. I love it. That continues on all the way through, by the looks of it, to March 24th, which will be the final. So it's going to go on pretty much for the rest of the month. Whoever wins New Japan Cup challenges Jay White for the belt at the G1 Supercard show at Madison Square Garden. So we'll have to see how the bracketology goes when we get to it closer down the line over the next few days and stuff. So the big stuff. Who do you think you are? Oh, I said it like that. I just did. the MMA stuff, so this is where Owen shouldn't go to sleep. Probably because there's a shit ton of comments to read about it.
Yes. There's more than just that. Hold on. Let's finish wrestling real quick.
What we got to finish on?
Oh, Lord. I got so much stuff to rapid fire.
Oh, yeah, the big thing as well, Impact Wrestling. What's her name?
Madison Reed's back.
Yeah, Madison Rain's back in a what the shit's going on, but I guess because Ring of Honor had nothing for her, that's why they let her go. Scarlett Bordeaux's debut match is going to be against Disco Inferno.
Yep.
Why should I give a fuck about her anymore? If she's going to be in stupid angles like that?
Hyro asks, should I care about Impact? I'm sorry, but I don't care about the storyline. It's all lackluster. I prefer Lucha or Ring of Honor.
Especially with the last set of tapings, you know, in the last few weeks, from what I've seen of clips, you know, off the YouTube, Cross and Moose are trying to make out that, you know, Impact's the bad guy. By the end of the tapings that happened in Vegas, Taya and Johnny Knight and Johnny Impact are literally heels. So I don't know what the shit is going on. Then again, I think neither do the people that are watching. Which is many.
Okay, rapid fire. Pyro asks if NXT UK is better than Progress.
I'd say overall, because some of the stuff, I know some fans are not that happy with Progress and some of their stuff, but they're more happy with NXT UK. So I'd say probably just about.
Did Doug Williams retire because he lost the Atlas title?
Yes.
When is Rampage going to lose the Defiant title?
Considering the angle they're doing with Rory Coyle, maybe at the next show, which I think is next weekend, maybe the weekend after, in which case there's a shit ton going down on Saturday the 16th, or at least that weekend. Blimey.
Hyro says, wouldn't be surprised if Low Key returns and wins the X Division title for the 69th time.
It's WrestleMania weekend. He'll probably be there. Yeah.
Hyro said, I passed away. Maybe I'm somewhere I can appreciate Raw one day. Not anytime soon.
Why would you? The Hardys are on SmackDown now.
Yeah. I thought Bruce Pritchard would be part of AEW. No, I didn't think that.
Well, and so the interesting thing with that is there's going to be no more live events like have already been promised. So all the stuff that's already been arranged has, you know, they're letting happen.
Right.
Basically, there's going to be no future live appearances until he gets fired or released from WWE or whatever. But they are still going to be doing something to Wrestle With podcast. So that doesn't change at all.
So let's see. He still is. Hyro says to one Triple S, he still is. That's why WWE didn't like working with him. What happened to T. Gray Uno?
Good question.
No one knows really.
He didn't do a lot, in all honesty.
Will we see La Messias in Triple A or Lucha again?
I haven't heard from him in quite a while, so I'm not sure. I think he might be doing like other promotions like Crash. But yeah, it would be nice to see him.
And when are they going to give Yoshihashi a singles title? The closest he got was the feud with Suzuki over the never open weight.
At the rate we're going, apparently never. Just because he seems to be back into jobber mode already.
Right.
I don't know. Yet Jay White comes in, ejected all the way to the top. So with the UFC stuff, nothing big to mention, at least from the Bellator front from the show in Ireland, in all honesty. At least I don't think. Let me just double check again. The February 23rd show, there wasn't any title matches. I think, we covered the week before because of Crow Crop and all that. Although I think Crow Crop retired this week. Yeah, basically, he's going to end his fighting career with immediate effect for health reasons because he actually suffered a stroke on Friday. So, at the age of 44, Crow Crop has retired. Great career that he had, starting in the Pride days, going into the UFC, then out of it, then a bit of Dream, then back in, then retiring, then coming back in again, retiring again. He's retired a lot, but 34 matches in kickboxing, 26 wins, 52 matches in MMA, 38 wins, 11 losses, and a no contest. And 48 wins out of 56 in amateur boxing as well. What we're trying to say is Crow Crop's legit. So best wishes to him in his retirement. There was also some UFC Fight Night stuff. The show in Prague from not this past weekend, but the weekend before. No fight of the night, but there was performance of the night. Thiago Santos in the main event, who beat Jan Blachowicz in the third, very early on in the third round. Stefan Struve's win via second round's arm triangle choke submission on Marcos Roguera de Lima. Michael and Jayshuk, his 94-second TKO body punch to Gian Valente. And also Dwight Grant on the ESPN2 prelim cards, beating Carlo Pedersoli Jr. right on the cusp of the end of the first round. Liz Caramouche also, although didn't get performance of the night, she won, beating Lucy Pudilova via a unanimous decision, a 37-27 and a 29-28 from the other two judges. And a couple of fighters also missed weight on them. So we have to keep tallying them up, as it seems. This past weekend, of course, though, the pay-per-view. Pretty interesting show overall. On the Fight Pass prelims, Hannah Kiffers beat Polyana Viana via split decision, 29-28, 2-1 in favor, obviously, of Hannah. Macy Chasson beat Gina Mazzani with a first-round TKO. Another first-round TKO, although this time, instead of being in close to like 109 seconds for Macy, 38 seconds for Edmund Shabazan in the middleweight division, beating Charles Bird. Then on the ESPN prelims, Diego Sanchez beat Mickey Gall midway through the second round. Man, that guy's reputation has fallen ever since he faced CM Punk. Cody Stamman beat Alejandro Perez via unanimous decision, 2-29-28 and a 30-27. A 36-second TKO for Johnny Walker in the lightweight division against Misha Kirikov. Which, from what I remember from that, it's pretty infamous, Owen, because afterwards he did the worm to celebrate, and in doing the worm, he dislocated his shoulder.
Huh.
So, might not be the best to show off. Then again, it got him a $50,000 performance of the night, along with Diego Sanchez as well. So, full credit to them getting bonuses being that low down on the card. The other main event for the prelims saw Zabit Magona Sharapov beat Jeremy Stevens 29-28 across the board unanimously. Then on the main card, Pedro Munoz beat Cody Garbrandt with a 4-minute 52-second stoppage via KO. That got fight of the night, mainly because Pedro nearly. No, I don't think it was actually this one. Yeah, I don't think it was that one, but it was really good back and forth stuff. That one. Weili Zhang beat Tessia Torres in the women's strawweight via unanimous decision. 2 30-27s and a 29-28. There. Then in the welterweights, Ben Askren beat Robbie Lawler in somewhat of an upset. I think this is the one which was like Askren was on the verge of tapping, and then in the space of a couple of minutes before we got to the 3-minute 20 mark, Askren managed to overturn it and did a bulldog choke technical submission. Lawler wasn't happy afterwards because this was Ben Askren's first fight in UFC after moving from one, which might have had a show this past weekend, which I probably need to check up on because it's one wrestling. Except it's not that one. Is it that one? The one of the one? Did I say one too many times? One. Oh no, actually the show's coming up this weekend. In Burma. So they're doing all this stuff to promote that they're doing shows, but they're literally all in Asia. Because their next shows are going to be Myanmar, which is the former Burma, this weekend on the 8th on Friday. Then Beijing, allegedly, on the 25th. Tokyo, Japan, which is in Sumo Hall on March 31st. And then the Philippines on April 12th. So it's getting really crazy, and at least from what I can see, none of the big names. Oh, the big names are actually fighting at Sumo Hall at the end of March. Eddie Alvarez taking on Timothy Nashchukin, and Demetrius Johnson versus Yuho Wakamishu. And wow, they're doing 4 title matches on one bloody night. Holy shit! What are they doing? Do they not know how to build cards, Owen? 4 title matches. I need a rest. God, that's going to be complicated the week before WrestleMania, especially with all that clusterfuck. Anyway, back from one. Big upset. Kamaru Usman comfortably beating Tyron Woodley. A 50-45 from one judge, the other two giving it 50-44. Usman is the first African UFC champion. Because although he is Nigerian American, basically, they emigrated to the US when he was 8. But he was born in Nigeria and he wrestles as a Nigerian fighter. So, first African UFC champion. And he was very respectful to Tyron Woodley as well. It was a very sort of humble thing. And then we get to the main event. John Jones beating Anthony Smith somehow. He comprehensively won it, despite the fact that he got deducted not 1 but 2 points in the 4th round due to an illegal knee. So instead of it being a 50-44 scorecard across the board, all of a sudden it looks closer because it was a 48-44 because of it. The key thing to note, though, as well, Jones tested positive for that trace amount of Turinabol again. Remember all that pulsing shit that happened?
Vaguely.
Oh, dear Lord. So Jones and Woodley apparently got $500,000 each for their appearances. Their opponents, Smith, who lost, and Usman, who won, got $350,000. Ben Askren got $350,000, including a $150,000 win bonus. Just trying to see. So Pedro and Cody, they nearly got a third more money through their 50,000 bonuses. Then Johnny Walker tripled his money. Basically, because he got a $45,000 win bonus and a $45,000 pay appearance, along with the 50 as well. And Diego Sanchez had a bit more, close to 200,000, not including the. Wow, Mickey Gall only got 30,000. How cheap is he, considering he's the guy that knocked out Punk? I guess that shows you that doesn't matter anymore, does it? UFC is back on ESPN Plus this coming weekend for Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos in the main event, which should be a tasty one, out of Wichita, Kansas, of all places. Tim Botch will also be on that show on the main card. Tim Means. Those are the only names that I recognize from the main section. So they're going down. And I guess the other thing to mention, GSP eventually retired. You know, 2-division champion and all that. You know, really great long career that GSP had. So again, best wishes to him in his retirement, just like it was with Crow Crop. We're also going to have. They also announced this week, this past fortnight, that there's going to be not one but 2 interim title bouts going down at UFC 236, which is April 13th. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight title will be happening because Tony Ferguson. Okay. So no, that's the interim champion because of the whole Khabib situation and all that. Apparently, interestingly, Tony Ferguson was offered the title fight against Holloway, but turned it down. So I don't know what's going on there. And then the interim middleweight title will also be defended with Kelvin Gastelum taking on Israel Adesanya. Due to the fact that Robert Whittaker is injured. So April 13th, it's all going down. Sadly, it's not a Friday, so I can't make that joke. Because it's a Saturday. Saturday the 13th. Unlucky for some, I guess. I guess we can get into the questions now then. From the MMA front from chat.
Oh, yes, please.
Would you want to read through them? Because I ain't got chat open.
It's fine. Rapid fire chat.
You said there was some that came in earlier.
I had lots that came in earlier. All right, hold on. I got to make sure the computer's working.
Oh, also, while you're doing that, I noticed, looking in the daily update from Dave from before Raw, Colby Covington showed up at various points over the weekend trying to get into the face of Usman and Woodley, saying that he should be champion. So that was a thing, I guess. I don't know what the shit was going on with it.
Thoughts on Usman winning and can Colby be champion?
Colby's watched too much wrestling, in my opinion. You know, he's obviously got a chance. You know, I wouldn't say it's a never say never. I wouldn't like to because I don't think it's the right role model for the thing. But yeah, I'm overjoyed for sort of Usman because he was respectful and everything in the way that he showed respect to Woolley after the win, and you know, saying Tyron was an inspiration sort of thing, which blatantly probably is to quite a few people because of his form. So, yeah, I think I'm pleased to see Usman. It's good to see somebody as well that you've seen there for quite a while sort of have their fall from grace. If they got, if Woodley gets back and gets the title back eventually down the line, fine. But it's always good to have a new circulation of people proving that they're the best in the division.
Cody Garbrandt hasn't won in over 2 years.
Yeah, despite that record, I'm amazed that UFC haven't cut him yet. I know he's been injured on and off throughout quite a lot of it, but
how do you beat John Jones?
Hope he fails a drugs test. It seems to be. John Jones as well, teasing that he might actually drop the belt and move up to heavyweight because he wants the match with Cormier. Because I guess he realizes Cormier's not moving down because he wants the big bucks with Lesnar.
Let's see. Thoughts on 236 having 2 interim title fights?
If they're going to be... Well, I mean, we can't help what happened with Khabib. And considering the injury, we can't help what happened with Whittaker. So it's better to find... It's sort of the equivalent of what we were going to have tonight on Raw. We're having an interim champion to find out who faces the champion down the line in what should be a good match either way, depending who wins. In both of them, in all honesty.
Can Kelvin beat Israel? He's a bit undersized.
I'd say Gastelum is probably the favourite. But then I didn't think Woodley would lose to Usman. So, surprises can occur, as always.
Funny how the interim middleweight title is with number 4 and 5 fighters. Why haven't they stripped Whittaker? That he's been injured literally. And he's not the first time he's had the interim title.
Yeah. I guess the problem with Whittaker is it's not like... They've sort of been somewhat freak injuries that have just happened. And I guess they feel because he's not... to be honest, I think if Whittaker gets injured majorly again, they might have to consider sort of letting him go just because of how much of an injury risk he is. But then, of course, that means that Bellator could scoop him up or one. It's becoming just like how it is in WWE right now, where you are wanting to keep your big stars because otherwise they'll go to the competition, and that's when you panic and all that.
I don't think Max Holloway can beat Dustin. What are your thoughts on Triple S?
To be honest, if it was Holloway and Ferguson, it'd be tougher. But yeah, I'd say just on paper, Holloway just seems too much of a odds-on favorite, in all honesty. But as I say, we can always get surprises.
One Triple S asked, do you think Josh Barnett will return to MMA?
I wouldn't be surprised if he came and wanted to do commentary. Because if Cormier is going to be transitioning over to WWE like he wants to, there's sort of a space there for a veteran. But then again, with Dominic Cruz and Bisping and all that, you've got a lot of space already there. I think Goldberg and the ref, Big John McCarthy, do a really good job with the Bellator stuff. I guess considering how he covers sort of the Japan stuff, and he's been to, plenty of Japanese sort of New Year's Eve shows, Josh might be a very interesting fit to be a commentator for One Wrestling.
Mm.
But in terms of in-ring, I think he's probably happy enough doing Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, in all honesty. Because he's always been a wrestling sort of mark.
Are there any modern-day promotions like Pride?
The closest would be that... The closest would be Rising, especially because like they do very few shows, but when they do them, they go big and they go long. Plus, it's owned by the same people, partially, or yeah, some of the people, not exactly the same people, but some of the people that were behind Pride are also behind Rising. So I guess that'd be the closest. How corrupt it is, I don't know, because I don't want to look into that too much, because that gets fucking messy.
Roy Nelson should just retire, honestly. He's just there for a paycheck.
Yeah.
GSP.
Sometimes when you see some of these people and it's like, oh my God, they need to retire.
Speaking of that, GSP retiring wasn't surprising. Just wish he did in the Octagon.
Yeah. It's a shame that we didn't see it. I mean, to some extent, you did see Crow Crop retire to some extent, even though obviously it was a week later and it was due to a massive stroke issue that he had last week. Yeah, I can see what you're saying in terms of it'd been nice if he sort of retired after that last match that he had, rather than leaving it months and months and months and then deciding.
So we are at the almost 2-hour mark of the show. So we're going to go into extreme rapid fire.
Oh,
Do you think Robbie Lawler is still good after 2 losses?
there was enough potential and he's shown enough excitement to possibly lead to at least get another chance. Then, of course, when you get to the 3 strikes are out, I think it's probably inevitable he's going to go.
Are you going to watch the Tokyo card with Mighty Mouse and Alvarez? But what about Sage Northcutt?
Well, that's like in May.
Hmm.
I just did a double check, so probably I'll keep an eye on it. It'll be interesting to see because it'll be the first. These are the first big, high-profile, like American names from UFC that people recognize that are going over there, so they're gonna get attention no matter what.
All right. Don't forget Ben Rothwell returning after a 2-year ban from USADA.
It's always interesting when they come back from the drugs bans.
Good thing that Kobe has no punching power, just wrestling.
Well, considering all the stuff he's done for Impact, yeah, wrestling you could say was probably his forte, but sometimes that's good enough, weirdly.
Hyro says the card in Tokyo is March 31st.
Yeah, the Tokyo show is, the day before April Fool's Day. So make your own jokes here. Apparently a lot of buzz for Momo Watanabe versus Jungle Kiona Wanda. Oh, sorry, Jungle Kiona for the Wanda of Stardom title. That happened over the weekend. A mediation conference is happening between the cameraman and Titus O'Neil. Apparently over the whole Swerve thing that I think we talked about somewhere down the line previously, Owen.
Yeah.
Vaguely remember that. Ciampa's got pulled from the Chaotic Wrestling show because of his injuries. Apparently there's a book coming out on the career of Dwayne Johnson or something. Renee, Becky, and Seth were at the UFC show. It's interesting. Oh, and Greg Hardy's going to be having his second UFC fight on the April 27th show in Sunrise, Florida. So that's going down.
And last but not least, we do want to issue our condolences to the family of Luke Perry.
Yeah. And what's his name? Prodigy as well.
Yeah, Keith Flint from Prodigy.
Yeah. I saw it again tonight via the feed that I had. That video package for Breathe with all the Al Snow mannequin, polystyrene heads.
I remember that.
Great image.
I think that's our show.
Yeah. Quickly see. what's coming up this weekend if I listed it all properly on Facebook, which probably means I didn't. And I can't be bothered to look at the emails because we're getting close to the 2-hour point.
I think
this weekend is 16 karat gold.
There we go.
In Oberhausen. Big stuff going down there. Eve Wrestling at the Resistance Gallery in London. AEW 7-year itch. So I was right. They're going to do stuff today. Defy Wrestling up in Seattle. Chapter 85 and 86 of Progress Wrestling in Bournemouth and Birmingham. We're also going down this weekend. There's also some Smash Wrestling, some CWF Mid-Atlantic as well, and ICW dripping like a knackered fridge, because that's a name. So yeah, couple of Progress shows as we build closer to Super Strong Style. Some Eve Wrestling double headers and big stuff with the 16 karat gold tournament. I'd say it's a pretty major weekend, I'd say.
Right.
It's never good.
All right. So that's your show. And we will be joining you later this week. AJ content will be hitting your inboxes sooner rather than later. So another edition of Versus, a long-awaited edition of AJ's movie reviews, where we sum up a lot of 2019 movies AJ caught up on. We got more Sip and Snacks coming in the near future. More guest star series with Bella. I've got some Voices of Liberty video to put out eventually. So a lot of stuff still coming. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I am on Twitter at Wishes by Name UK.
More Snack Stash coming, more Gaming with Ash coming in the near future. Stay tuned for those. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney. And like I said, more Sip and Snacks coming, more concert footage coming. So that's going to be your video. That's going to be your podcast. And as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you have chosen a podcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
And that, my friends, was the music for the Jilted generation.